Sing the national anthem.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for Monday, November 7th, 2016. Mr. Clerk, would you lead us in the Pledge of the Flag?
Absolutely. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, on the docket for tonight, 6:30, Organization Pledge of Allegiance, Read Mail. 6:35, Town Board Appointments, Master Plan Update Steering Committee. 6:45, Updates, 2 items, Fire Union Integrated Collective Bargaining Agreement, and second, Selectmen's meeting schedule from January to May of 2017. 7 o'clock, updates, first public input, then member updates, which can include Selectmen goal updates. 7:10, November 16th, 2016 Special Town Meeting, final preparations. First up, fiscal update, funding plan for borrowing articles. Second, Article 12, acquire land at Boxborough Road for conservation. We can go into executive session with that one. Last up, any other articles. 7:45, Town Administrator, Assistant Town Administrator for Finance and Budget, procurement of supplies and services, adopt policy amendment. 7:50, other business, minutes approval. 8 o'clock, executive session on collective bargaining strategy. All right, so Mr. Bergen, we have some mail this week.
Yes, we have an invitation which comes from the Friends of the Council on Aging and the Council on Aging to the Veterans Day Luncheon, which this year will be on Wednesday, November 9th at noon in the multipurpose room. So all are invited.
Very good.
Also included in the packet some handouts that I got at a recent MAPC meeting, which had 1 or 2 page summaries of some of the various provisions of the Municipal Modernization Act, which, by the way, takes effect today, November 7th. And we will be scheduling some quality agenda time in the future on some of these, at least. The one for speed limits and safety zones, the Board of Selectmen will have the ability to amend the traffic regs to reduce speeds to 25 miles per hour in any thickly settled area, with provisions for even going to 20 miles per hour with Mass DOT approval, which I think would give important new tools. Often when we've had concerns from a neighborhood about speeding traffic, under the old law, that we would have to have a study done, and then in accordance with Mass DOT provisions, and whatever the average speed is became what the speed limit was. And if people are speeding, might go too high. So this would be a good tool that we can look at in the future. We can get to these after town meeting, after we're done with town meeting. And also, I had emailed this to you last week, and we printed out copies here, but just as a reminder, we did get a letter from George Sanders with some questions about the TIF article in Special Town Meeting number 2. And and you've got a hard copy of this, and I just could quickly address some of those concerns, if it's all right. One of George's questions was, why is the $20,000 payment under the host community agreement coming in a later year, and we're proposing it by year 5? Why isn't it coming in year 1? And it's sort of, and the main reason is because the purpose of the agreement is to help the business ramp up at the beginning, that they're incurring the most costs when they have the least money coming in the early years. And so that's why, in fact, the discount is proposed to be highest the first 2 years at 10%, and then down to 7.5% for a couple of years, and then down to 5% for the remaining 3 years. So what we're looking at, by the time they were healthy and up and operating, that's when we would want to get a repayment from them. That's why we structured it in a later year. And on the matter of what do we do if the company leaves, or if there's, or what's the, is there a clawback provision like some state contracts have? There's not specifically a clawback provision. It's more based on, it's performance based on job creation. So if there's a year in which they don't meet their job goal, then they don't get their TIF discount for the following year. And that is sort of our enforcement mechanism. And And the goals are brisk, that they are 20, of the 50 jobs that they are committed to produce over the 7-year agreement, that 20 of those jobs are in year one, with 8, and 6. So by year 5, they'll be maximizing the total number of jobs. So that's the way it's structured. And so that's sort of why we did that.
I sort of kind of understand what you
And
did now.
Mr. Sanders, we know who you are,
Oh,
but
George Sanders from 672 Baker. I sort of kind of understand what you did, but in the article, it didn't give that detail that Mr. Burton just gave out as to what happens if they don't do this or don't do that. That wasn't in there.
so it's probably at this
So,
point important when
yeah,
we
we'll-
speak to it.
Yeah, we'll be happy in the presentation that's made on town meeting to
Great
floor
point.
to make that additional information.
Absolutely.
I watched a televised with you and the moderator there, and I think you did a fine job going over all the articles there for the town meeting. And
Next time, we'll have a call-in program.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
You may not want that.
And I guess the last thing I had there was about the town debt. Why
Yes.
can't we have information sheet in the report that goes out? That way people knows how much debt we have, what the amount is, when it's gonna be paid off, et cetera. I find no reason why that information, because that really sort of kind of gives the citizen an eyeball as to what kind of debt this town has on hand, and when they're gonna project paying some of it down when you're going forth with new projects.
Sure. Just on that, 2 points on that, there, the complete list of what debt the town has and when it's retiring and so forth, we do print. It's once a year, it's in the annual town report, albeit we only make a few hundred copies of that. We have electronic copies that are available on the town website, and we do actually print out some. But to the point of, can we show, for purposes of when we're taking on new debt, when is the other debt retiring? I think we can put together a presentation like
Yeah,
that for town meeting, sure.
That information was actually provided by Steve and Bonnie in the context of their September 12th presentation, albeit it was in with some other, proposals, but all the information was there, so it shouldn't be hard to pull out.
And I can email you those links. And
I think, I'm satisfied
Okay,
with the
Thank you.
explanations.
thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Okay, very good. Second item, master plan update steering committee. One of my favorite committees, here to make an appointment. We have one applicant who actually joined our last master plan update steering committee meeting, even though not appointed yet, so that was very good to see you there. Thank you very much. And so Miss Anna Houston and Planning Board did make their vote, right, Keith, already, because it is a
Yes.
joint appointment.
Right.
And they gave you the go-ahead, right?
Planning board voted to appoint on Thursday night, and so now the matter comes to the Board of Selectmen.
Very good. Well, why don't you give a little synopsis about yourself? And you can just stay right where you are.
Okay.
Yeah, wherever you're comfortable, exactly. Yep, and just give us a little information about yourself.
Certainly, thank you. So I'm Anna Houston, and my family and I moved to Littleton from Denver, Colorado in July of this year. And so that includes my husband, Rob, who is a small business attorney, my son, who is off to college as a freshman, and I have a daughter who is a sophomore at Littleton High School. And she's actually the reason why we wound up in Littleton, simply because she wanted to attend a very high caliber school with a student population less than 1,000. So that brought us to a couple different communities, and she shadowed at Littleton in December. I had a great experience there. I got to meet Mike Fontanella, who provided me a parent perspective, and so I felt pretty comfortable after talking with him as well. But when I came to visit last December, I just really remember everyone being very friendly and also being able to see the rich history, and I understand why everybody loves Littleton as a small town community.
And what's your interest in getting involved in this particular effort, or involved in general?
Sure. So I've always been one to give back to my community in different ways, and so for me, being able to be involved in the growth and development of the community, especially if I plan to have roots here, so that's very important for me to be able to contribute back.
Fantastic. So I'll just give my 2 cents real quick, and then the board will let you guys ask questions. But like I said, I already had the opportunity to meet Anna at the meeting, and we got to ask her a bunch of questions, and she told us a bit about herself. And I'd just say, and PJ Avella, the chair of the Master Plan Update Steering Committee, said the same, you know, super excited to see someone brand new jumping right in and wanting to get involved and raising their hand. And so I have a big green go light from my side. There's only one spot open. It's been open. It's a slam dunk from my perspective. So board members, any questions?
I'll just offer up, I mean, just looking at your resume, I mean, there's a lot there that I think we can extract from. Your participation in policy in the state of Colorado and task forces, you're tied to education. I think that'll be a nice bridge, small business owner. You know, I think you've got a lot of different assets that you can bring to the committee and to the town. Not to mention the fact that coming from outside, where you were involved, new perspective. You know, it's looking at the glass from a different angle. And I really appreciate you coming forward and jumping right in.
Good. Well, I would certainly love to serve if appointed.
Excellent, Mr. Brady.
Yeah, also a member of the committee, although I had a conflicting meeting last week, so I wasn't at the meeting that you attended, but delighted to have you on board. Kind of neat that we have somebody on the master plan committee who wasn't even a resident of the town when we began the process. We did have Bernardo, who, you know, moved to town shortly before that. I only wish you moved here a little early. We could have put your talents to use earlier in the process, but yeah, happy to have you.
Or doubly hard.
Mr. Goff.
So again, I think, you know, the board members have said a lot about your resume. I just love the fact that you had the guts and your family had the guts to just say, we're moving, you know, from Denver to Massachusetts and to pick Littleton. It's pretty cool. And for you to step up and say, I want to get involved is awesome. So we appreciate that. And, you know, volunteerism in this town is huge. I mean, there's so many people that give so much time to make this town what it is today. So welcome, and
Thank you.
look forward to working with you on the master plan committee.
Excellent. Mr. Knox.
Well, Anna and Rob are my neighbors. They live in the house where I'm renting, so I get to know them right away. It's a beautiful family. We're lucky to have her in town. And what I was so enthused about is as soon as they got to town, they were involved in whatever was going on. Attending football games, attending Third Thursday, whatever was going on, they were there, so you jumped right in. And I did walk out the other day to talk to Anna in the parking lot after reading this, and I said, God, you know more about this master plan than I do, and she's only been here a short period of time, so I think we're lucky to have you aboard.
Anything else you'd like to share with us?
No, other than I do believe, as Chuck mentioned, that my experiences, both in the business world and also as a resident, because I lived in various communities throughout the Denver area, and bring along those different learning opportunities to be able to understand how change really impacts different stakeholders, and that's always important to keep in mind.
Very important. Headed to implementation after this as well. All right, board. We're good to go for a motion.
Move that the Board of Selectmen vote to concur with the planning board and appoint Anna Houston, Anna Houston, sorry.
Either way.
To an indefinite term on Master Plan Update Steering Committee as a community at large member.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you at the next meeting.
You-
Oh, yeah.
You gotta get sworn in.
See the
Clerk,
10th.
you gotta go to the clerk's office and get sworn in.
Okay, terrific.
Town clerk's right on the second floor, across the hall.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Moving right along to 3A, not 3B, which is Fire Union Integrated collective bargaining agreements.
It's been our practice to come up with a codified document which contains all of the provisions of the existing collective bargaining agreement. We did that for the first time 3 years ago, when we pulled together what were maybe half a dozen memorandum of understanding that had been just sort of tacked on to a very old copy of the contract. So we had agreed with the union that each time we reached a new deal, that we would take the time to go back and then amend the source document so that it matched all of the provisions for changes that we just agreed to. The board approved the police and dispatch contracts this summer. You'd approved the highway one earlier, and so now we have the fire contract to bring you. The draft has been circulating for a long time, too long. We sat down with the union and just sort of went through the document. I think there were some misunderstandings about what things might have been in the document, and we ultimately came to the conclusion jointly that it's precisely the agreement from 3 years ago as modified by the memorandum of agreement, period, and that there's no other changes that are proposed to be made. I think we probably have a running start on maybe small items that the union would like to see changed next time, but we haven't agreed to those yet. And so this document presents precisely the contract from 3 years ago as modified by the list of changes that appear in the MOA that you had approved last year. So we wanted to get that document codified, and we're probably about a year away from negotiating the new contract with the firefighters and the other unions.
Chief, any comments from your side? No?
No, just nice to get this cleaned up.
Yeah. Board members, any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, two things of note. First, the new patch. I saw it, I think it was a couple of weeks ago that for the first time, it's pretty cool. Everybody really likes it, so it's updated. It looks great.
Yeah.
Secondly, I guess, it should have been done a lot earlier. Our labor council from a previous contract was dismissed because we couldn't get it codified.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that we stay on our Copeland page to make sure we're not sitting here with a year out for a contract, so.
He gave the document to us probably a year ago.
Okay.
So, and it was upon arrival here that I think confusion reigned. So, but he did his job.
Okay, all right. So we need to make sure, and being on the negotiating team, I kind of dropped the ball too, because I should have made sure that these were done. So hopefully the next round, we get it out. Changes, very simple changes, whatever's negotiated, usually the salaries, maybe some wording changes, and we move on. But if there's gonna be a document that we're gonna live by, let's get it out a little bit earlier. That's all I have.
So, Joe, anything from
And
you?
again, I'll take responsibility for that.
Jeff, anything?
I was waiting for Jim anyway.
Paul? Okay, we're good to go. Take a motion.
All right, move that the Board of Selectmen vote to execute the integrated collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, with the Littleton Professional Firefighters Association, International Association of Firefighters Local 4599, which contains all the provisions of the 2012-2015 CBA as modified by the 2015-2018 Memorandum of Agreement, ratified on May 4, 2015, and approved by May 4, 2015 special town meeting. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Okay,
Thanks, Chief.
now we
Thanks, Chief.
have our meeting schedule from January until May. So, holidays are avoided.
I'm going on vacation in January, I just don't know when.
Okay.
So,
Maybe we get a couple extra meetings in there.
what's that?
That Saturday, January 7th is supposed to be our budget.
No,
budget.
no, no, really? That's my dad's chess tournament. This happened to me last year. Please don't do this to me.
Well, I think if the chair makes a request to move it, it should be moved.
Please, give
So
me
moved.
that date.
Right, it was in the budget calendar, yeah, it was in the budget calendar you
Take his
adopted
king.
last summer. And this is odd, this is the first time we've had it in January.
Right,
We had
it
it
was
in
in
November
November.
last year,
He's
and it
moving,
conflicted.
he's testing
So the
different
chess
times of
tournament moved
year
from November
around,
to
is it better
January.
in the winter or not?
When's the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
February
7th? 6th? 4th?
obviously stay away from that weekend. But can we please discuss that date? I beg of you. Please. Okay, but this is true. We need to discuss this date. But these dates, any
Late
concerns?
breaking news, I'm on vacation 1/7 to 1/14.
Thanks, Charlene. So you'd missed the first. Wait, what was the dates again?
1/7 to 1/14.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you'd missed
Yeah,
the
we'll have
first
to
one.
look at what, we'll have to, if it's gonna be a day long on a Saturday, we're gonna run out of.
Saturdays to pick
options.
from.
We're gonna run out of Saturdays. So,
And the 7th is the big budget powwow too.
Well, that's what we were just
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
what it is.
conflict.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm
so-
not even there either, so.
Yeah,
So 21st?
Gee darn, look at
Is
that.
that an option?
21st is the Mass Municipal Association, and my 60th birthday, so
Oh, well, that's why I wanted to do it. I was, surprise.
no, get me something I
Wait,
really.
wait, how old are you? Wait, what?
Is there, again, this is maybe heresy, but I mean, we're essentially getting most of our stuff together. Is there any reason we can't do it in December?
No, well, there's no reason we can't accept.
That's why I
but
was
the
looking
question-
at Bonnie when
Yeah,
I,
the question will be, when has Bonnie got the tax rate set? And
Yeah, I mean,
Because
the hearing's gonna be on the, what, the 4th of?
5th,
Yeah,
December?
5th of December, so,
The favorite meetings,
Saturdays in December are tough.
yeah.
you have to make a spectacle of yourself.
And then I'm gone.
Always
My
do.
daughter has a competition, so I'm out of state, the 17th, which is Saturday.
we had sort, yeah, the
Now you're gonna take
meeting on
Christmas
the- December 12th was gonna be our last meeting of the year, so. Well, why don't we contemplate what options we
Okay,
have?
yes.
because we could tear our hair out, I think.
Yes,
figuring out
exactly.
what the right
Let's-
one-
24th.
Let's start figuring it out.
Really?
Because Jim will also be away, so there's, there's two issues right there. So let's start an email and bat around ideas. Okay?
Okay.
All right, but these dates are not for the
Before I
set.
forget, Madam Chair, on the, I'd had some discussions with folks who were at the hearing last year for the tax rate, and then just the idea came up, and I wanted to float it, and since we're scheduled, it's already scheduled, what, for the 5th, you said?
Yeah.
Is there any chance we could schedule at our meeting prior to that, a discussion, so that, I think some of the feedback I got was that folks felt like it was discussed, boom, 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 and then it was voted, and that there wasn't a chance for, a couple of weeks in between the presentation, maybe the presentation, at a meeting prior, let the public plus the assessors
Meeting
have
on the
their input,
28th.
and then do the vote on the 5th, so that, we get time to get any input from the public that might be out and around.
That's one of the ideas Mr. Sanders had, too.
Oh, did he say that too, George? Great minds think alike, right?
What the board had done before is that there were briefing sessions that were set up for selectmen that the assessors did. Just the Monday following Thanksgiving holiday, is that the 28th?
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe something that week,
Excuse me.
28th, 29th, 30. I mean, it's really, what, Bonnie's got the budgets.
Yeah,
The budgets are due on the 28th.
I can't prepare the tax classification hearing materials until after town meeting votes, whatever articles they're going to vote. So, that's the 16th, which gives me, it's tight, but I could shoot for the week of the 28th.
I'm thinking if it could be something like the 30th,
Yeah.
Wednesday the 30th maybe. That way Bonnie would not have to get it done before.
Or conversely, if
Thanksgiving.
you can't push it on that end, have the presentation on the 5th and the vote on the 12th.
Well, then we don't get the tax rate
Right.
set before the end of the year.
Right, then you're pushing into DOR's very outer territory.
Well, there's got to be a way to present the information so that we have a couple weeks' time to go over it and let the public have a shot at it too.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if there were an earlier town meeting, my preference has always been an October town meeting, so that we can get the materials into the system and ready with the November 16th and then the December 5th date, which was really the outer limit for me getting everything into DOR. Once it goes into DOR's hands, we're at their mercy. It's their timeline to set approvals, so, I mean, I'll certainly do my best to try and get everything together. It's just, it's tight with the town meeting date, November 16th.
Okay, let's see what you can do. I've seen you work miracles before, let's see.
And if we have to call a special meeting just for that one purpose, that's
Yeah,
what we do, you know?
exactly.
Any date or any day during the week, you know?
Yep,
Because I think it's a good idea,
yeah,
too.
agreed.
Yeah, like I said, traditionally, we don't go this late for town meeting anyway. It wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, would like a later, instead of, if we did the 7th of December, although that's, I know master plan update has a major event
Oh, yes,
scheduled for that night, but you gotta pick
right.
who goes first. and
Yeah, I'd
I think
almost
you do.
rather
Yeah.
push for like a,
Agreed.
29th or 30th meeting
Mhm.
to do that, and then the hearing on the 5th.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Bonnie. Okay, guys, any other thoughts on these dates?
Time flies when you're having fun, I can
Wow.
tell you that, huh?
Yeah, they're on either side, mostly they're on either side of the holidays in those months.
Alex, appreciate you putting the effort in and doing that.
Yep.
Speaking of holidays, this Friday or Monday, the Veterans Day holiday?
Friday.
It is Friday, it's
Friday,
Friday.
yeah, Friday is.
If we had a meeting scheduled on Monday, I just want to make sure that somebody wasn't scheduling it when the building was closed, so that
Well, that's what that key is for. I just,
Yeah, the town offices will be closed on Friday.
Ready, Madam Chair?
Indeed.
Move that the Board of Selectmen vote to schedule the following Board of Selectmen's regular meetings for the dates indicated at 6:30 PM in room 103 Shattuck Street Building. January 9th and 23rd, 2017, February 13, 27, 2017, March 13, 27, 2017, April 10 and 24th, 2017, and May 8th and May 22nd, 2017.
It says 6.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good, brings us into input and updates. First up, public inputs. Any public input? Seeing as none, members' input. All right, I'm gonna start right here. Vice Chair.
just want to put a shout out to all the sports teams. Having some success. Field hockey won last week, football won last Friday night, so they're each moving on.
Field hockey lost on Sunday.
It was on Sunday?
Yeah.
All right. Football plays this Saturday at Foley Field in Worcester against West Boylston, who they lost to previously in the season. It's been kind of a battle back and forth the last couple of years with West Boylston and Littleton, knocking each other off in the playoffs, so this is a big one for the team. I attended a welcome to new residents at Pine Tree Park tonight, or this afternoon, and coffee that Barbara McRae and some of the folks from Council on Aging and the Housing Authority put on. It was a nice event. About 20 people came out, so it was nice to meet some of those folks and let them know that we're here for them if if they're looking to grab somebody's ear. So it was a little bit of an outreach. They appreciated one of us being there.
Thank you for representing.
Happy to do it.
Dan Novak. Anything else?
No good.
Mr. Glavy.
Another sports shout out to the Western New England football team, which is headed into the playoffs with their star freshman player Joey DeCoste.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. Mr. Guy.
So on Saturday, there was an event down at the Common for support of Alumni Field. And I had some fun driving by. The kids, there were a bunch of kids out there having a grand time, showing their support for Article 7 on the 16th. And the parents and all the people that have been just coming out and supporting Article 7 has been fantastic. So the kids that were out there, they just were having a blast. It was awesome to see the community all getting involved, and it was just a great sight, so great job for all those folks that have been working so hard to get Article 7 passed and to educate folks to make sure that the right information gets out there, and they're just doing a fantastic job.
Ms. Knox?
Just to double up on what Selectman Carr was talking about, after all the hard work that your committee's done, it's surprising, maybe it's not surprising, that how many people don't know about it or think that it's just going to be a ballot and you don't have to go to town meeting, or I had someone at the football game ask me, when are we voting on grass or turf fields? So even after all that work and all the publicity we go through, it's being in the paper and things, people still don't have a full understanding. So the educational part is so important. But it's the same thing with a lot of things that are done in town. People only see certain parts of it and don't get the whole thing. But once again, after all that hard work, I hope something pays off here.
Yeah, it's been a meeting a week since May, with the exception, I think, 1 week we didn't meet. And it's been a lot of work, and my hat's off, excuse me, I will take another opportunity to say my hat's off to everybody that's on the committee, the Alumni Field Renovation Committee. There's 9 of us on there, and I really appreciate all the effort that all the folks that have, not just the folks that are sitting up on that committee and are serving the town, but also the folks that have come. We've had really good attendance at those meetings, and it's been a great opportunity for people to come out and learn. Joe, to your point, those meetings have happened weekly on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night since May, with the exception, I think there was two weeks where we didn't have a meeting due to vacations and things like that, but we've been there, and we've never shut anybody down. Everybody's had an opportunity to say their piece and give us input, and we've taken all that input, and I think we've made some great choices and great decisions, and we've encompassed probably a little bit more than we had anticipated encompassing, but I think that entire project will, we're not gonna look back at that if it's approved. We're not gonna look back at that and say, oh, we should have done the parking, or we should have done traffic flow, or we should have. We're trying to take all of that into consideration, and I really appreciate all the effort for all the folks that have been involved with it, not just the people that are serving. Certainly, I appreciate them, because they put a lot of time in outside of those meetings. We've done a lot of research and educated ourselves, but also the people that have shown up, and to Jim's point, there's been a lot of folks that have done yeoman's work, educating people on Facebook, and there's been a lot of work put into it. So I certainly hope that on November 17th, I'll...
16th. Oh.
I know, on November 17th, I hope that I can look back and say that was time well spent, and appreciate all the effort that everybody put into it.
Very good. I think we have a comment from Mr. Sanders.
George Sanders, 672 Great Road. Where's the data on the maintenance? I haven't seen anything. I know that was supposed to be a big part of this renovation. If you're gonna renovate it and put all this kind of money in it, who's gonna be responsible for maintaining it, and et cetera, et cetera? I didn't see any of that data in there.
Will we jump with?
Please.
So, Mr. Sanders, just like I just said, there's been a number of meetings where that information has been disseminated. Each one of I'd say the last 3 meetings, maintenance has been addressed. Mr. Fontanella put together a large presentation. There will be a presentation at town meeting as well that addresses maintenance. And although there's been a lot of discussion around there's how much maintenance there is for a grass field versus a turf field, there's through the efforts of the committee and Mr. Fontanella, he's proven that it's significantly less with the synthetic surface. But that has all been presented and will continue to be presented, especially at town meeting, that will be part of the discussion and the presentation.
Follow-up question, please. But is maintenance included in this figure that we're gonna vote for the alumni field?
That's just
So there-
construction.
It's not just the field, it's the maintenance of all of the facilities and things that.
That'll be addressed in the annual budget, George.
Right.
Yeah, that'll be addressed in the annual budget, and that's a part we still have to work out with the finance director and the finance committee. And yeah, another piece of the puzzle, you know, on Article 5, we have also funding for a comprehensive needs assessment for recreational fields. So we have to, you know, what was promised in the spring was, in addition to fixing the field, that there would be a comprehensive plan. So we've got a request in there to do the study to do that, and that we would also work to make changes in the budget process so that it is accountable, it's easy to find, and that there's one owner of the field maintenance in there, and that it's properly funded. So that piece we haven't got ready yet, but then again, we're not presenting the annual budget this fall either. So, you know, we're taking steps in that direction, and, you know, it was specifically, this committee was not charged to do that, although all of us recognized that's something we have to do in order to make it all work. It isn't all just about alumni field. The big picture isn't.
Thank you. Selectman Glaive. Okay, and I'm the last one on member updates, so super quick. Great job to Park and Rec for a successful trunk or treat. I saw some videos. I didn't get a chance to get down there, but it looked like a lot more kids than last year. It looked like a big fun time, so great job. Hope to see it again next year. 2 updates on master plan. Keith mentioned one of them. The next public participation forum is December 7th. There'll be dinner and a chance for you to share your ideas on what does success look like in the next 20 years on all the different topics within master plan, transportation, open space, et cetera. So come on down and participate. Again, there will be food. Second thing, the master plan consultants have released the existing conditions section of the master plan, which really outlines, you know, based on all their analysis, the input they've received, and, you know, what they could garner from documentation and town staff, what is Littleton like today? It's actually really, really interesting. So they're looking for comments and any input folks have to adjust the document. So it's out there on the website, the master plan website, the Facebook page, there's a link, so please do go check it out. And if you have any feedback, there's information on how to send feedback in. Okay, that is it for inputs and updates. November 16th, 2016, special town meeting, final preparations. First up, fiscal update, funding plan for borrowing articles. That's 5A.
And what I would want to call to your attention in item 5 is assignment of articles.
All right.
Before we go tonight, I think we want to decide who's going to do what. We have your notebooks available they were delivered on Friday with information, backup information on each of the articles, and we typically have, you know, assigned members to make the initial explanation at the microphone and help field any questions, so.
Okay, and,
Number 7.
yep, Chuck's now all over number 7.
I'll take the first 3,
Yep.
the financials.
Okay.
Chuck
That,
has 7.
wait, first, shoot, I'm marking the wrong ones.
I was going to take 5C, but do you want me to just take all 3 of the 5s? Or?
Yeah.
You can divide them up if they were,
Yeah. And on C, just anticipating, you know, a lot of, you know, it's kind of tucked in there, but it's a big topic that, you know, anticipating having some other folks speak to it, people who were involved in the first part of the plan, specifically Bob Zimmerman and Megan Ford. So we're just, unless the board objects, we're hoping to put a presentation together that would, you know,
Great idea.
involve a couple of people.
I'll take 8 and 14.
14.
I'll take 5A if you want.
That's, yeah, okay, I'll take
Okay.
5C then and leave the rest for whoever.
okay, so Paul's got 5C.
I'll do debt, it's not
You wanna do B
sexy,
and C?
but,
Can we go through one?
okay, I'll take
I'm not going to be
4.
able to get them down.
I'll take
Number
4.
1, who has number 1?
Jim has 1 through 3.
1
Yeah.
through 3.
Okay, Jim, okay.
Good move.
Number 4.
I'll take 4. Do you want to do needs to? or no?
5A.
You're done.
So 5A will be DeCoste, and I think B and C, Glavy.
Sure.
Okay. 6.
I'll take fire station.
She was really perky about that one.
Yeah.
I've gotten down there for, interviews, and I want to
That's
see
awesome.
it through.
Good.
you know.
Awesome.
8, rescind unused.
That was Knox, right? Did you say 8?
Joe?
I said 8, yeah.
Okay. Mill Pond,
I'll take it.
Chuck.
Ooh, I
Water
want 34
department,
Cedar, that's my friend's
Jim,
house.
I'll take 10, yep.
Oh, shoot, yeah, that's right, water commissioner.
Water commissioner. Surplus Mass DOT property.
I'll take it.
I should have done this in pencil, I'm already making mistakes.
I know, I
See,
did too.
I already raised twice.
The Williams property.
10-foot pole.
I'll take it.
Will that be on town meeting?
Well, talk about that in a bit.
Well, we'll know before the evening.
Oh, that's why you did it. Look at you handicapping, huh? Look at you.
I'll take that lucky 13.
Nice.
All right, I'm done.
By law.
And then 14 was Joe.
Right.
OPEB. I'll take it if no one wants it.
Well, Glavy needs a couple more out there.
You believe the
I
OPEB?
had plenty, I was hoping to leave after those.
What, all two of them?
He was gonna do 16 and 17.
What were you gonna give me?
You got 15.
15.
It wasn't, were we? We
Yeah,
did.
OPEB, okay, fine.
4 of us already put it in pen. You're in.
Not you,
Well, you
Paul.
could give me 14, I might make a couple amendments on the floor.
I think that's why Joe got it.
Keith was quick to fill that in.
How about the voter petition? Do you have a select?
No.
I
No.
don't think we should, right?
Okay, and then Tiff, I'll take it, or Joe, either way, I'm happy to take it, or if you want to, but it probably should be one of us, first set, one special town meeting,
Special town meeting number 2. The TIF.
the last row.
Well, you and I can both do probably.
Okay,
Melissa and Joe.
That'd be nice.
Okay, thank you.
back to you, Jim.
All right.
Throw it back to Joe.
All right, 5A now. Fiscal overview.
Great. What I wanted to do after the last update, I realized that I was really focusing on one part of our capital financing, which was just the amount of debt that was retiring as a result of the high school debt and the Shaker Lane debt in the next few years. So I kind of wanted to take a step back and give the board a presentation that showed all of the capital financing components, so that you can, better estimate the impact of placing this debt inside the levy going forward. So again, it's just, the data has not changed, the assumptions have not changed. It's just the presentation is more comprehensive for you. So again, the assumptions that we're using is the fire station at an estimated cost, at a cost of $8.9 million. The alumni field complex at an estimate of $4 million. And we're using our capital stabilization funds of $2.9 million to reduce the debt service on the fire station, so that we're only placing $6 million in debt instead of the 8.9. Alumni would be accomplished by some short-term financing over 8 years. We'll be paying down $500,000 in principal plus interest annually to get that paid off within an 8-year period. And the reason that we're doing that is going any longer than that might handicap you in doing maintenance at a 10-year level if you needed to do that. So we'd like to have it paid off within the first 10 years.
Because you can't borrow again if you still owe the money.
Right, you got it. You guys remember everything. So, what I wanted to do is, I provided a sheet that Keith has up on the board now, and I wanted to give you a baseline of where we are right now. So this baseline is making no assumptions for placing debt. It's just giving you the figures that we have available today for capital. There's 2 components that we use in financing our capital, which is the accumulated debt service reductions. So as we've been paying down debt over the last several years, we do not let that go to the operating budget. We keep it separate, and we use it for any capital projects. Capital would include borrowing for new projects, but we haven't done that up to this point. For fiscal 18, the amount is $1,351,955. In free cash, we have an amount that is up to 2.5% of the operating budget. So we have projected figures in there, and that's based on, the free cash being available. So there is some assumption that, put into this figure. But as we are very good about adhering to our financial policies, but we've been able, to meet those targets in the past. So we're hoping we'll continue to do that. The free cash estimate for fiscal 18 is $1,138,615. So the total funding available for capital in 18 would be $2,490,570. That's very close to what it was this year. We had just over $2.4 million that was used for capital. So it creeps up annually. You can see as the debt is retired, the accumulated debt service reduction amount increases. You can see kind of a jump in fiscal '20, which is where we kind of looked at putting the fire station in there back in 2014 when we started this process. And then you can see in fiscal '24, it goes up to that $1.9 million figure. That's when all of our inside debt is paid off. There is no more debt to retire. And the free cash estimate is updated based on our current budget projections. So if we didn't borrow anything, the example in fiscal '18, the 2.49 million figure would be available for capital projects. So then we go down to the scenario number 2. This is what we planned on in fiscal 2014, placing the fire station debt inside the levy in fiscal '20. So you can see the fire station debt service of $600,000 in there. That's the first year that we make principal payments. Prior to that, there are interest payments due, and you can see they're much smaller. But we figured on placing the first debt payment in fiscal '20 and then going out for 20 years after that. So those figures are all updated. So you can see that the adjusted amounts available for capital are reduced. So in fiscal '20, I'll pick on that year. If we had done nothing, we'd have just over 2.9 million available for capital. With the fire station debt in there, we'll have about 2.3, just over 2.3 million. So there is an impact, but I don't want to relay that it wipes out the capital spending. It impacts the capital spending. And then you can see the figures going up from there into fiscal '26. So this has been the plan for the last few years. Scenario 3 is the plan that we developed this year with the addition of the alumni debt, which we would start paying in fiscal 2018. So we'd make our first principal payment there. So that's, another 580,000 impact in fiscal '18 and, being reduced annually through fiscal '25. So instead of 2.4 million available for capital in fiscal '18, we would have $1.8 million available for capital. And that capital would cover all of the departments, so, not just public safety, it's school, it's other public safety departments, it's highway, it's anything facility related as we do repairs on the buildings. So we've shown you the fiscal impact with alumni debt in here through fiscal '26, and you can see in fiscal '26 the alumni debt is fully retired. So at that point we would go back, to the same impact of, number 2 above. You'd have 2.7 available for, or almost 2.8 available for capital in each of those scenarios. So I just thought that this might be more helpful to show the level of spending going out over the next, 9 years or so on capital and the impact of placing both of these.
These numbers could obviously be augmented by other one-time funds.
Correct.
Snow and ice,
Typically-
overlay releases.
Yes, typically every year we have, hopefully in good
Right.
years, we have some snow and ice money remaining that we can appropriate for capital at a fall town meeting. Overlay surplus is not factored in here. So there may be other ways to augment these figures. They're not factored in here.
Right, which is good. It's
Very conservative.
Yeah.
Any questions, board members?
No, I think it's very helpful for a lot of folks. The questions that we get are exactly along these lines, plus some, historical questions of, what that picture has been and, where it's gone, but it's kind of evident here as it comes off the books where it's been coming from. Principally, it's the high school and more, and the Shaker Lane addition.
That's the big impact in
Yeah.
20 and 24.
Yes. Name and address, please. Betsy Bowling. I'll do my role as Debbie Downer, just do the other side. There could be additional funds, there also could be additional expenses. We could have a year where we need more for snow and ice. If there's money coming in, there's more money going out for that. The economy can take a hit, and so revenues are down across the board for things. So we need to keep that in mind as well.
Good point.
The other thing, I'm very concerned about those numbers, because if I look at something like we need a new ladder truck, where is that going to come in? Are we going to be going and asking for debt exclusion override to pay for things like that going forward? And if we are, that's a plan, but then we need to be open with the town that there will be changes and there will be tax increases to cover some of this, our overall plan going forward, if that's how we're going to go.
No argument there.
Yep. Mr. Sanders.
Road Sam, 672 Great Road. First off, if we need a new ladder truck here, I'd like to know is that's what's on the agenda of the chief here. We're trying to get a fire station in here, and now we're talking about a ladder truck here if there's a need. Is there a need for a ladder truck here very shortly? And what I mean by shortly, I'm talking about within 2 years here.
Chief?
Yes, there is. That was on the capital plan for last year, and we had put it off because a new one would not fit in the existing station. And so it may be coming forward. It's on the capital plan for FY18. It's going to be 30 years old. We are experiencing issues with that. That's something that, will be brought forward on Budget Saturday, and, the members will decide whether it goes forward or not. But it is on the plan,
Or when.
or when.
And Chief, would you be able to, because you still have the same size building, so would you not be able to act on that until you have a bigger building? Or how, or you find an additional place to store it?
If it, say it was approved at the Springtown meeting, it takes a year to build.
Okay.
So the new station would be done by then.
Okay.
And it would be ready the summer after we're in the new facility, if it passes.
Okay, fair point.
My question, further question on that, if that is the case, why isn't that projected into what we have now? Because if he said it was there last year and it got put aside a little bit because of the building, then you're telling the citizen, we're gonna need a fire truck that's a ladder truck here. And to me, as a taxpayer, as much advanced knowledge that you have about that, you're going to spend money for an item like that?
Capital plan.
I would think that that would be information that should come forward when we're talking about in this planning stage, like the information we get here. But the most important thing I want to say is that I think that the town of Littleton officials has done a superb job in terms of trying to keep this town within levy based on money that they're spending. I'm very appreciative of how this town officials go by trying to keep the tax dollars down of reaching into the citizen pocket. And I think that is definitely worth noting here. And I think Bunny has done a very superb job along with Mr. Bergman and the Selectmen and the Finance Committee in putting information there so that you can give this information out to the citizen. And the citizen ought to be grateful for the people that we have that are representing this town.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Sanders. Yes.
I just want to add that, George, we do have the capital plan that's reviewed annually, and all of the trucks, from every department and other capital needs from the schools on their buildings are all in there. I mean, what we focus on and what gets the most attention each year is what we decide to include on that year's funding plan. But, I mean, it goes out, I don't know, how many years? 10 years? We have a 10-year capital plan. So, and that's all available. Maybe we don't, publicize it enough at the time, but we do go over it usually at a meeting subsequent to the all-day budget session. So probably sometime in January, we'll review that plan again, I would guess, right? Is that right, Bonnie?
Yeah, we do it a couple of times.
Couple times a year.
reviews.
Yeah.
And we do have to make some tough decisions sometimes, George, when the school's
Well, I understand
gonna,
that.
yeah, so, it's a matter of why we're up here,
But it's not new and it's not hiding. We
Correct.
know about it, and it's in the pipeline.
I just think the advanced knowledge of if you're going to need, now the people know that we don't need a ladder truck. So I just think that we ought to put it out there. That's just my way of saying it.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Any other comments or questions?
Thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bonnie.
Bonnie. Bonnie.
All right, that leads us to 5B, which is, this is one where we can go into executive session. So value of land, Joyce Williams property, 31 Boxborough
Right in the middle of the
Road.
meeting.
I don't know, that's a good question. So we,
Why don't we do some other stuff?
Can we do that, actually? Can we wait for it to the end?
You can do
So
it,
all goes
yeah,
in
you can do
one?
it near the end if you want to ultimately
Yeah.
act on it, you have to come back out of executive session.
Yeah, I think that.
Certainly
Okay.
do that.
We're gonna hold on 5B, and we're gonna, oh, so we have a 5C, other articles. Is there anything?
Well, I also noticed that if we're finishing up on the special town meeting, final preparations, and that the
Oh,
moderator
right,
was here. I don't know if you were here, Tim, for anything particular to that, or?
Great catch.
One
Any
night, Tim,
comments?
or 2 nights,
Oh,
how many
it's a
chairs?
one-nighter, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have an overflow room?
No, I appreciate the fact the board made town council available to the petitioners. They, however, didn't avail themselves of town council's advice, so they submitted pretty much the same petitions that they had initially circulated, so we'll deal with those at town meeting, obviously. Been thinking about the town meeting. I've got some suggested guidelines for presenters. I'd like to, with your permission, circulate them, through the town administrator to those who are going to be making presentations at town meeting.
I think that's a great idea,
It's-
please.
It's my impression that things have gone a little long the past couple of town meetings, especially with some of the articles that are again appearing on the warrant, so I'd like to kind of get our arms around that and not specifically a time limit on everything, but to try to move things forward and avoid repetition and redundant comments and that sort of thing, so.
That's great.
With your
Appreciate
permission, I'll
that.
circulate that.
Please do.
To the presenters.
Please do. That's great. And then we'll try to make your prep meeting here coming up as well. Like I said to
Monday
Keith, I'll-
morning.
yeah, yeah.
Great.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. All right, anything else on Saturday? Moving along? Okay, looking forward to it, November 16th. All right, 6A, procurement of supplies and services, policy amendment adopt.
This is the policy that was introduced at your regular meeting in mid-October, and the new rules take effect, the state law takes effect today, and so we want to have our policy be consistent with the new numbers of the state law.
I just have one question. With this modernization plan, Bonnie, I was talking to somebody about having to use combis now? Is that just for notifications or actually bidding the RFRs and all that?
You have to advertise in combis.
That's all you need to do is
You don't have
advertise.
to actually use combis for anything other than advertising.
Good for you. It's a nightmare.
It's
It's,
horrible.
it's a nightmare. So as little as you can do to stay within the modernization plan, do it, trust me.
It's not,
It's a big animal.
Clancy and I are navigating it now, so.
Good luck. My life.
Oh, boy.
Ready?
Yeah?
Chuck, you want it?
Oh, you got a kid.
All right, good. I got my glasses tonight.
I know, I saw them ready.
I'm all excited. My glasses tonight. Move that the Board of Selectmen vote to adopt the proposed amendments introduced on October 17, 2016 to the procedures for procurement of supplies and services, disposal of surplus town-owned property, supplies, and supplies. Policy to increase the requirements of the purchase of supplies and services from $5,000 to $10,000 as a minimum amount for quotes, and from $35,000 to $50,000 as a minimum amount for sealed bids, respectively, to conform with Chapter 218, Acts of 2016, and Act of Modernizing Municipal Finance and Government, which takes effect on November 7, 2016.
Second.
So moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nice job, Jim.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right, very good. That leaves us with minutes approval. So we had minutes, so this is not the annotated minutes, the ones that we requested.
No, we did.
Yeah, they're amended,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the
Oh, I
one on the
see, yeah.
17th, I appreciate Clancy's amendments to that, and I just encourage, we obviously don't need a blow-by-blow, but there are some comments that don't result in a motion or a vote that ought to be memorialized, not just from me, but from anybody, as to get the full flavor of it. So I would encourage you to do as much as that as you think is appropriate. Or more.
Or more.
Or you can go watch it.
Yeah.
Anybody that has issues with it, just go watch it. It's always on
Well,
LCD.
you know, at a later date, it's always good to say, I said in the minutes show.
Yeah, but then I'll go back and say, I've used that before.
Yes, I know.
All right.
But the
Any
minutes are
other
fine.
questions of the minutes? Okay. I'll move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the minute meetings of October 17th and October 26th, 2016.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now what's left on the agenda is 5B, which we skipped over, which was value of land versus Williams property, 31 Boxbar Road, and executive session collective bargaining strategy. So since we've got two here, we'd like to head into executive session. We actually have to come out for 5.
Yeah, you'll have to come out at the end, so if you want to take action on, so you may want to just move to go into executive session on both of them now
Yeah.
and come out at the end and just have one discussion rather than popping in and out.
Exactly, yeah, that sounds good. So.
Ready?
Yeah.
All right, move that the Board of Selectmen vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A6, to go into executive session to consider the value of real property, since an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the board's negotiating position relative to the Joyce Williams property at 31 Boxborough Road, to convene an open session thereafter.
Before we second that, do we want to add
Right.
the motion to include clause 3, to go into executive session, discuss strategy for collective bargaining?
Sure, I was gonna read that.
Just to
Yeah, he's going to read that next.
I was gonna
Yeah.
read it next. We're gonna do a
Two
roll
separate
call.
motions?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Knox?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Yes.
All right, move that the Board of Selectmen, after the Joyce Williams property, we will still be in executive session. Move that the Board of Selectmen vote pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 38, subsection 21A, Clause 3, to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with the town's unions, since an open meeting may be detrimental to the effect of the bargaining position of the board, and not convene after open session thereafter.
Mr.
Coming out, hold on, hold on. We're coming out of the same executive session, right?
You're coming out of the executive session.
We're coming out of
on the value of land.
We're not gonna
but
discuss
not on
anything on
collective
this.
bargaining.
Okay.
So you'll discuss both matters in executive session, you only come out
On one.
on the value
No
of
intent
land.
of discussion.
Aye.
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 All right, folks, we are headed into executive session. Thank you so much for coming down.
Stay around if you
soon.
wanna hear about Joyce Williams.
Thank you.
We're gonna go up here.
Make a motion.
Talking to.
I'll make the
Thank you,
motion.
Chris. Okay, we're back.
To the Zoom. The Zoom.
Nobody.
Hold on.
And we're back in here.
We're back in session.
All right, come on, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry. All right, let's do it.
All right, so we are coming out of executive session for the value of land for Joyce Williams, property 31 Boxborough Road. And I will make the motion, Madam Chair, move that the Board of Selectmen vote to authorize town council to prepare a purchase and sales agreement with Joyce Williams for 35.11 acres parcels A and B, plus a trail and signage easement for 31 Boxborough Road for $1,273,758. $1,273,758, with the acquisition of said 35.11 acres by November 16, 2016, special time meeting, Article 12, to be contingent upon award of $400,000 land grant to request $873,758 in CPA funding from the Community Preservation Committee, therefore, and to support said Article 12.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion to adjourn.
Well, is there a hat that people had questions about?
Yeah, maybe we could get a close.
Could we get the camera to go in on this hat?
Make America white again.
There we go.
That's
So there were
great.
some folks that weren't sure what the hats were on the table.
No electioneering for.
No electioneering for any particular candidates are on a ballot tomorrow, but
There's only 3 hats on the table, folks.
although there was a
Because
unanimous
everybody else
decision.
took them.
Popular item.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor
They'll be
say
real
aye.
cheap on Wednesday morning.
That's true.
Aye.
Aye.
What are you talking
Thanks
about?
very much,
Big
folks.
collector's items.
Chris, thank you.
What are you talking about?
Everybody.